My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. It is 1:37 a.m. It is now Saturday, July 26, 2025. The Ontario International Airport, maintaining ongoing systematic flight over my room, has been doing so for the past 2 hours consecutively. I'm going to document the people of the state that are gang stalking with the Ontario. This is Alan D. WAPNER that is gang stalking me. Doing so using commercial planes over the venue. Let me show you in possible light inside of my room right now at nightfall in conformity to the pattern of conduct of stalking with light. So you can see my shadow, 2 of them on my wall inside of the hotel room. And this is, I'll show you the same pattern of conduct stalking with light that you see during the day when the demons are gang stalking under the fake sun. An engineer light is appearing inside of my hotel room under the very foolish guise of engineer light that's manifesting on this under the covered structure of the walkway, where the demons that are gang stalking as housekeepers, demons that are gang stalking as hotel guests are engaging in criminal monitoring. You'll see those images. I'll upload them. It's 1:38 a.m. You'll see impossible light inside of my hotel room, just like the case where the Ontario Police and the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking, maintaining aerial surveillance and engaging in what is the maintenance of amplified audible activity and what is engineered light, which is inside of my hotel room as well, where I'm being kept under surveillance, and sex offenders that are flying commercial planes are gang stalking. This is state action. All right, I will show you impossible light activity. You will see the crisscross of impossible light showing the banister staircase, the shadow of the staircase going in conflicting directions. That's not the product of the light source, that the light fixtures. They're stalking with light at nightfall and during the day. License 8EDV437. These are the sex offenders gang stalking. They're engaging in what is a sex offense monitoring 24 hours a day. This is the P.O.C. while the airport is engaging in what is, again, maintenance of flights that are flying over my hotel room. This is criminal conduct that's not published on the Ontario International Airport's site, where they're engaging in what is flights from Terminals 2 and Terminal 4, purportedly to destinations where I'm showing you the evidence of gang stalking by that airport, and every airline is engaging in that criminal system as well. GWO8HV, Texas, engaged in systematic monitoring. I've been documenting that Texas plate every day. License 23103U1. License plate 8MM9119, and that is an Arizona plate. Yeah. License 9JFH468. License 9SPD246. 9EKC937, that's the sex offender, the Latina female exhibiting severe mental illness, pacing out of her room. That was on the second floor while her shadow was moving all across the ceiling, and she's engaged in domestic terrorism and psychological torture with the government in plain view on video today. She is a sex offender still monitoring me in the same exact specific environment, and her mental illness is also exhibited while she is stalking an American citizen with the government, and doing so by paying for a hotel room to keep me and my vagina under surveillance. She's a sex offender. License 9SSF936, license 9SYE890. Motorcycle license plate is 25H6898, 9RBF516, 5AMV693, 9GQT881, 9DTM779. License 3TBG137, 4KCY540. And I'm going to show you my multiple shadows. When I'm taking pictures of the demons that are gang stalking by walking in the parking lot, they're doing so in engineer light under the fake sun. They're doing so at nightfall while they have multiple shadows, the gang of shadows that surround them while they're stalking with light. That's another iteration of stalking with light. They're monitoring, they're stalking in plain view. License WLZ2831, that's Texas. This is the gang stalkers that are engaged in kidnapping. The paper plate EE94Z99. Paper plate on a white Toyota Sienna, KKB99, kidnapping on September 25, 2020, license 9GTD454. The entity that is gang stalking, including at MOBIL, a gang stalker maintaining presence in the path, license 3UUU144. The entity is also gang stalking by all 45 rooms are a means of criminal presence in the path. Economy Inn, a federal RICO case, civil and criminal prosecution for gang stalking. A sex offense is built into the pattern of conduct of gang stalking. And the government itself is going to be prosecuted. License EF22C70. That's a paper plate. Where the entities engage in this P.O.C. The Ontario International Airport flying over my room, so this is why I'm stepping out, documenting the demons that are gang stalking with the city of Ontario, just like you saw under the fake sun. That is over this same roof of this building where they're all exposed as engaging in the pattern of conduct, which is domestic terrorism, that the entire state of California engages in, and these idiots are under a fake sun remaining over this raggedy hotel. They're a bunch of sex offenders, and these are the demon-possessed that represent the special needs population that are engaging in what is a fully exposed government system. The demon-possessed population engaging in stalking, monitoring, targeting American citizens. This is the prosecution of the state of California and the disbanding of the Ontario Police Department. This is P.O.C. They're all monitoring online. Everybody using the Economy Inn Wi-Fi. The Economy Inn Wi-Fi itself is a means of federal stalking. It's criminal conduct. The entities engaging, that's amplified audible activity. So I'm gonna go ahead and capture video. That's amplified audible activity flying right over my room. This is P.O.C. And doing so, remember, the sound of the plane activity originates over the roof of the building at 2301 South Euclid Avenue. And it is currently, I'm capturing video right now at 1:43 a.m. The entity is flying southeast over the 60 freeway, crossing over the hotel building. This is in conformity to the pattern of conduct. The sound is, what you're hearing is that which would not be sounding inside of my hotel room. The entity is engaged in the demonic pattern of conduct, targeting me with the sound of planes. But nonetheless, you're going to prosecute with the illusions that the demon possessed that are engaged in domestic terrorism, psychological torture. With regard to the objective is to stalk with presence, stalk with noise, while they're doing so using planes. This is the exposure of Alan D. WAPNER, okay? The removal of the president of the airport authority where criminal conduct is underway in the specific environment. This is the same pattern of conduct that you're looking at the DeBoer Professional Building. Okay, these lights are not the explanation for what are the conflicting patterns of the staircase. This is showing you engineer light, where the entity is gang stalking with those that are sharing criminal presence in the path of the city of Ontario, maintaining the elements of monitoring inside of the hotel rooms as well. And this is speaking to knowledge of who I am and where I'm at. They're engaged in surveillance together, including while the government is stalking me at this venue. So all 45 hotel rooms are representing the people of the state that are maintaining criminal presence in the path and is relevant to the federal RICO case against the people of the state. This is engineer light. The entity is engaging in this, so let me show you what is the entity's pattern of conduct also, stalking with light. While I'm showing you, here you go. Showing you multiple shadows. Here's the multiple shadows. This is stalking with engineer light. The shadow of the gate is reaching across. You can see my shadow reaching across. This is not the product of what is engineer light. Okay, those lights over there are going to cause your shadows to reach at a distance. This is where the Ontario International Airport is targeting, just like they are with the Ontario Police Department. LORENZ, again, being removed from position. This is gang stalking, monitoring my vagina, monitoring every physical movement in a hotel room with the demons that are stalking by presence. Engineer light, crossing the path, the demons that are paying for hotel rooms to maintain criminal surveillance as a government. And WAPNER is obviously engaged in gang stalking, where there are no terminals where you're flying southeast, where you're flying south, where you're engaging in anything other than stalking the path of light activity while you're monitoring. This is the demon stalking with the Ontario Police on video today at 6 p.m. Stalking with impossible light that flew across this building, and he's stalking with light right now while he's stalking in the path. That's the same psychopath you saw in exhibiting impunity while impossible light was all across the block, and he's stalking right now. Okay, that's P.O.C. That's a sex offender engaged in what is gang stalking with the city of Ontario. That's federal prison that he's engaging on video. All right, that's P.O.C. And the government is facilitating it, and they are doing so. Let me show you what I captured in images. This is the entity that is indeed engaged in gang stalking. Here's my magnified size of my shadow. And this is another shadow right here. This is impossible light activity inside of the room where the Ontario International Airport is stalking, that is deviating from Terminal 2, Terminal 4, 2500 Airport Drive, filling my hotel room, systematically flying over the venue, targeting with the amplified audible activity. Not only are they flying by stalking, because there's no airport arrivals or departures from Ontario International Airport, by flying south over 2301 South Euclid Avenue. Also the frequency that I am subject to this, and the entity is necessarily hovering to create the illusion of having any sort of takeoff where you're hovering over by flying south, and then I guess veering to go back toward what is the Ontario International Airport. The entity is outright stalking, period. And doing so at this hour is what I'm documenting, and the entity just confirmed it by flying over the hotel room. And they're flying over that direction because that's where I was standing. They're flying over my hotel room while I'm inside of it, documenting the entity that is stalking with impossible light activity, with the demons that are stalking in the path, because that's what that is, criminal surveillance, stalking in the path, like the demon in room 244, when she sits on the staircase in engineer light, sitting in the vehicle in engineer light, when you know that's engineer light. I have multiple shadows in this parking lot. They're stalking the path with aiming light. That's a psychopath. That's a demon that's stalking with light. In the same way that you saw this demon stalking with light while driving under the fake sun, and engineer light ricochets off the front of his car all across the face of this building. These are demons engaging in surveillance with the gang stalker that is the city of Ontario. WAPNER, Michael LORENZ, Paul Leon, Michael GERKEN, engaging in criminal surveillance with the sex offenders who are the people of the state, the demon possessed, that are gang stalking. And these are indeed, like you heard on podcasts, which is triggering demons that cannot control themselves and are under no circumstances intending to have any legitimacy in court. These are the idiots that are stalking under a fake sun that remains over 2301 South Euclid Avenue for 12 hours. Okay, these are the sex offenders that are engaged in obsession with my vagina. These are the sex offenders that represent gang stalkers who are mentally ill, who conspire to steal property while falsely depicting the character of the target individual whom they're envious of and who they're obsessively stalking. Okay, and they're of all races and all economic levels. These are the gang stalking bums of the ghetto in Ontario, stalking me, monitoring with the government, using thousands of dollars to fly plane after plane, stalking me. Okay, this is P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaging in that obvious criminal conduct. 1:48 a.m. These are demons with multiple shadows. They're monitoring while they're driving, monitoring while they're walking. They're doing the same thing under the fake sun, stalking with light. These are sex offenders monitoring my every moment, obsessed with me. This is P.O.C. Federal stalking under Title 18. License KKB 99. This is federal prison. They engaged in kidnapping with the city of Ontario that committed kidnapping with them. Because they're hostile while I expose them as sex offenders who are obsessively stalking me. And they committed kidnapping, which is within the pattern of conduct by the special needs population that are hostile because they're ashamed and embarrassed that they're obsessed with me. P.O.C. Gang stalking by placement in rooms all around in the engineered environment. This is P.O.C. at what is 1:48 a.m. Criminal surveillance maintained. Let me go ahead and get the license plate. All right. The City of Ontario relies on this. Mobile at 2315 South Euclid Avenue is also engaging what is gang stalking by maintenance of presence in the path. Okay. And also sharing knowledge of what I'm doing. This is license 9SCM 182, engaging in federal stalking, maintenance of the vehicle, light activity, and then movement of the vehicle is a method of light activity as well. This is surveillance in that specific environment on behalf of the government that relies on the demon possessed to maintain presence all around you to keep you under surveillance, stalking you in the path. And traffic is a systematic means of that. This is P.O.C. This is the sex offense underway, and stalkers remaining inside of the hotel and the crossing paths, making sure they're maintaining presence in the path. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, you can hear me documenting the P.O.C. This is exactly what I was documenting with regard to the City of Ontario that's engaged in what is late night stalking. Late night stalking is relevant to the entity that's going to be prosecuted and placed in federal prison, and deportation where it's applicable based upon the kidnapping committed on September 25th, 2020, and the ongoing criminal monitoring that the City of Ontario is engaging with, both directly and vicariously while I'm documenting that pattern of conduct at the venue. And also, the entity is doing so with the City of Ontario. L&D WAPNER is gang stalking while abusing a government position, and this level of criminal surveillance and corruption is underway on his watch. And it is in conformity, it's not a coincidence, and it's not an anomaly. It's in conformity to a long documented pattern of conduct that also exists in other cities and counties, sharing the specific environment as well. L&D WAPNER is fully exposed in that, and not only is he fully exposed, he is an obsessed, violent sex offender, while his criminal monitoring using commercial airline planes that are engaging in far deviant, absolutely no reconciling what is arrivals and departures with flying over what is the Ontario's economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue, not only flying over, but flying over in the direction that they are, the frequency that they engage in, and also at the elevation and volume level. This is the entity that's engaged in, first of all, their demonic pattern of conduct of amplified audible activity is also going to be addressed with, even if you're flying over, why are you flying over at such a low elevation? That can be perceived in disruption. Oh, and it's supposedly creating such loud, roarous, rumbling plane activity. Why are you nearly scraping the roof of the building then if you're flying over? There is no explanation for not only being present in the sky space over this property, flying southeast over it, but hovering over it, which the audible activity and the sensational activity, which is again occurring under the fake sun and an engineer light. At what is Southwest Airlines, which is a documented gang stalker headed toward Las Vegas, coming from the Terminal 4, is scheduled for what is arrivals at the Ontario International Airport at 1:10 a.m. At 12:32 a.m., Southwest Airlines, a documented gang stalker coming from Phoenix, Arizona, arriving at Terminal 4, is changing from 11:30 p.m. That was scratched out and edited on the website that the entity also knows that I'm referring to in my documentation, but also it's not an explanation for, none of what the entity puts on the website is an explanation for gang stalking. You're going to refer to this as a means of identifying corruption of the Ontario International Airport that's engaged in state surveillance. That's why I refer to it. In addition to that, the entity maintains surveillance. For example, when I'm at Woodside Senior Apartments and all night when I'm documenting, every 4 to 7 minutes, another plane is amplified in volume, and there is no trace of any plane activity, no planes arriving or departing overnight at the Ontario International Airport, but heavy plane activity that I'm documenting in images via podcast, on my PDF document that I would upload, and on video. I'm documenting stalking. Stalking, which is identified in the specific environment, criminal surveillance, demons that are monitoring and using expensive ways of doing it, thousands of dollars to gas up a plane, use a whole commercial airline plane to engage in stalking me. Because that's exactly what you're doing by flying over that multi-family zone at a low elevation where it would even be heard inside of those senior citizen apartments, and doing so at the frequency and at the time that they're doing. So this is in conformity to a pattern of conduct. The entity is doing the same. Southwest Airlines is gang stalking, and so is American Airlines. But I just want to refer to, I'll go ahead and take a screenshot of what is the current state of the Ontario International Airport arrivals and departures. And it looks like July 26th, the earliest, this is the earliest departure coming from Terminal 2 and Terminal 4 is at 5 a.m. This is United Airlines, Southwest Airlines at 6 a.m., Alaska Airlines at 6 a.m., Delta Airlines at 6 a.m. The entities engaging in the pattern of conduct of stalking, maintaining ongoing consistent plane activity over this hotel, where there are, first of all, like I'm stating, I'm just referring to what the gang stalker, the Ontario International Airport, #1 publishes online and what they're actually doing. And also the arrivals and departures from 2500 Airport Road and 2900 Airport Road has no connection to what I'm showing you they're doing over this hotel at 2301 South Euclid Avenue in this airspace with regard to rationalizing and connecting an arrival or a departure. Okay, the entity is stalking and doing so where the fake sun remains over me at this address for 12 hours. The entity is stalking by commercial plane where the fake sun remains for 12 hours and where engineered light is present. The entity is stalking by commercial plane where the fake sun remains for 12 hours and where engineered light is present, and where the Ontario Police Department, in conformity to the pattern of conduct of stalking using helicopters in that specific environment, this is where Alan D. WAPNER is gang stalking me and using the commercial airlines to do so. Okay, and this is a domestic terrorist engaging in psychological torture, criminal surveillance, a sex offender, monitoring my genitalia and facilitating monitoring of my genitalia while using commercial planes to specifically target me at Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue. Okay, it is currently 1:54 a.m. This is again the criminal conduct of the entity that is engaging in that P.O.C. with the City of Ontario. The people of the state engaged in monitoring through the corrupt business practices of Economy Inn, and you are going to be prosecuted while the government is gang stalking a targeted individual, an American citizen, while on your property. License KKB99, kidnapping on September 25th, 2020. License 9GTD454. License EE94Z99, that's a paper plate. And she's kidnapping on September 25th, 2020, license 9MBP997. This is the gang stalking housekeeper that you listened to me document, that you saw gang stalking through the terrorizing conduct of being on the opposite end of the hotel, but yet the roarous, thunderous sound of and sensational activity under my feet while I'm standing at the sink of my hotel, while you are a demon in engineered light under a fake sun where you work all day long, not cleaning the hotel rooms that are filthy, while you are indeed a bum gang stalking and not even engaging what is gang stalking as a natural born citizen, very likely a gang stalking immigrant, while the City of Ontario is gang stalking with this third party who's on video gang stalking today with the Ontario Police as I document her, targeting me via housekeeping. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging in that P.O.C. with the City of Ontario, and the City of Ontario is putting its own co-defendants in what is a surefire prosecution. My case is already done. The government is always just providing ongoing corroboration, which is speaking to there's no question about what my evidence has already demonstrated. The federal government is monitoring while the City of Ontario is gang stalking. Okay, this is P.O.C. It is 1:56 a.m. on Saturday, July 26, 2025. The video will be published to the YouTube channel. I'm actually going to publish it right now. And also to the Google Drive. Everything goes to the Google Drive. For today, a new day, July 26, 2025, and the pattern of conduct, as I'm showing you, is ceaselessly underway. The entity engages in the plane activity where you see them flying over me at the location of the property where I'm at. This is the same thing that you're seeing in the environment where the fake sun is over me at the location where I'm at the property. This is where they're targeting with plane activity. When I'm inside of the hotel room, they're flying over my hotel room. All right, and also the audible activity is disconnected from what the demons are physically doing. This is how you're at the opposite end of the hotel, and inside of my hotel room, the demon possessed are engaging what is quote unquote secretly targeting a person that's not supposed to be able to naturally articulate or define what's happening. This is supposed to, it is psychological torture. You're going to prosecute for it, but they're the demons who are mentally ill and intellectually inept. They're not able to, this does not work against me. I'm breaking down this asininity. I'm going to prosecute for it. This is what the government uses against ordinary American citizens who are not equipped for that level of attacking the mind and attacking you and spiritually as well, because these are demons, and this is a demonic spirit that's sharing, possessing a whole population. You're going to prosecute for what is actually ridiculous and absurdly psychopathic conduct. And their demented behaviors, their demented methods of targeting is exactly what's going to put them in mental asylums. The gang stalker in video that is targeting under the fake sun and an engineered light, showing his mental illness by stalking with light. I stated before, the demon possessed that are stalking with light, that's the same evidence that's going to put them in asylums. When you're stalking with light, when you're engaging in pacing, when you're engaging in what is repeatedly targeting, like you're so delusional you can't understand that you need to stop, you're going to be placed in an asylum. This is what this demon is doing by gang stalking with the Ontario International Airport on video. With the Ontario International Airport, but on the video that's documented on July 25th, 2025 at 6:14 p.m. This demon is driving the same Lexus, stalking with light. You will see him at around 8 minutes in the video. And he is stalking with light while this psychopath opens up his door. Engineer light flies all across the building of the of the Economy Inn. It's impossible light activity. And meaning it's light that never occurs when you're driving under the sun. This is what the entity is doing inside of Starbucks while this same demon-possessed and mentally ill population is stalking me, knowing who I am and targeting me with impossible light inside of that cafe where the Starbucks committed kidnapping with the intent to obstruct justice, because the demon-possessed who are obsessed with my vagina, who are embarrassed and ashamed that they are both racist, for example, and they're also obsessed with my vagina, the vagina of a black woman, that they're embarrassed because I have intellectually bullied them, because I have overwhelmed them with evidence proving that they're obsessed with me. That's why they're stalking, and the fact that they're also demons. These are the demons that engage in more criminal conduct, which is putting them in mental asylums, putting them in federal prison, removing them from office, removing them from the areas of society where they pose a threat to the public, like the demon-possessed who have no business being in cockpits, flying planes, and being a part of law enforcement, having access to weapons, exercising fictitious authority under the law, where mentally ill psychopaths who are thirsty, bloodthirsty, and derive pleasure from harming other people are in law enforcement, and let alone flying airplanes like the demon-possessed that are flying Southwest Airlines, Delta Airlines, United Airlines, American Airlines, flying the planes owned by Amazon Prime, FedEx, UPS, that are gang stalking as Starlux, Alaska Airlines, Frontier Airlines. They're all engaged in gang stalking. Every single airline, okay? This third party that's gang stalking on video, license 9BCU587, he is exhibiting severe mental illness and doing it on video, and this is going to be used to diagnose the people of the state that are gang stalking. Stalking with light is severely demented behavior. This is the mental illness, the psychopathic conduct, the maniacal behavioral patterns, the demented conduct designed to target someone else. That's the mental illness that's put at the forefront. That's evidence of their mental illness while you're stalking with light, like this psychopath is on video, and license 9BCU587. That's the demon that's on video gang stalking with the Ontario International Airport in Engineer Light, and stalking me with impossible light also in the video where the Ontario police are for 10 minutes flying in circles, pacing over my head under the fake sun. That is at 6 o'clock in the evening, present for as of 7:16 a.m. This is over 11 hours. The demon-possessed people of the state are gang stalking, and I am so important. They are so obsessed with me. They are paying money to stay in this raggedy hotel to keep me under surveillance, and they are fully exposed in doing so. And the demons that are triggered by the words that I state to describe them and their ineptitude and their obsession and their sexual perversion and their addiction to me and their demon possession are the same demons that flew over this hotel at 1-something in the morning, which is not published on the Ontario International Airport website. It's pursuant to the pattern of conduct. Even those that are occurring, say for example, Southwest Airlines flies over flies over this hotel at the same time that you'll see a flight published on the website. That is neither an explanation. Coming from, arriving to, or departing from the Ontario International Airport Terminal 2 and Terminal 4 will never result in what is flying southeast over this hotel, ever. And that's just giving you the ability to understand how corruption is occurring. The entity is engaging in conduct and is engaging in conduct that it is not reporting in its budget. It's not reporting in what the actual employees are utilizing their manpower toward, what they're doing with those that are engaging, what is the flights that are on schedule published online, and the flights that are used to gang stalk me throughout the city. This is exposing corruption. Common sense is a part of that common sense level of scrutiny, rather. Moreover, the pattern of conduct in the specific environment is direct evidence. It's not circumstantial. It's direct evidence that the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking. Okay. Again, license plate. The demons that are gang stalking on video tonight with the Ontario International Airport at 1 in the morning, license 9BCU587. This is the gang stalker that's targeting with the Ontario International Airport yesterday evening at 6 p.m. Where the Ontario International Airport, the mentally ill are pacing around me using a helicopter, showing their obsession, their mental illness, and their unfit, how unfit they are for law enforcement. Okay, that's already a moot point regarding the Ontario Police Department. Okay, it's 2:03 a.m. Just wanted to cover those last points. It's July 26, 2025. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, the gang stalking immigrants, engaging in terrorism, the sex offense, monitoring with the state via housekeeping under the fake sun at Economy N. License 9DTM779, 3TBG137, EF22C70, that's a paper plate. Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue. The demons are gang stalking at Mobile Gas at 2315 South Euclid Avenue, 8ADL 482 7COMO49. The same Caucasian male wearing a red t-shirt, stalking by walking in the middle of the parking lot, wearing a green shirt today, stalking by walking in the middle of the parking lot where I already showed you last night. He's doing so in Engineer Light and at nightfall. Doing so under the fake sun is the equivalent of doing so with 4 shadows around you. License KKB 99. It is, by the way, currently 2:45 p.m. And this demon is gang stalking onto the grounds of the Economy Inn coming from Mobile. Caucasian male with shoulder length, white hair, black hat, blue tennis shoes, black shoes, and a green shirt. He is captured gang stalking with his communication device walking west in the middle of the parking lot as I captured yesterday afternoon. Yesterday, which was July 25th, 2025. License 6ZZM624 7VVE039. All the people of the state are sharing this Latina female gang stalking third party. She's a sex offender doing the same thing that the third party with license 8MBP997 is doing. It's the same pattern of conduct, same demonic activity, same criminal conduct, different face. Okay, third party conduct, crossing path under the fake sun that is over the Economy Inn. Engineer Light covers the ground. The entity is gang stalking as a population, obsessing over everything that I'm doing. These are obsessed stalkers who are violent sex offenders, and their obsession and mental illness and criminal conduct, all of that is identified simultaneously while you're walking outside of the hotel room, engaging in what is a demon that wants to be looked at as a housekeeper minding their business, and it could not be further from plausible or the truth. They are engaging in gang stalking, and this is likely a gang stalking immigrant, and is crossing paths with the same housekeeping cart, creating earthquakes inside of my hotel room. I'm sitting on the mattress. It's shaking the mattress. That's sensational activity pursuant to what is monitoring me while you are stalking in the path through the 45 rooms at the Economy Inn. License DZ48B36 paper, and the same Texas plate again on another day, GW08HV. The entity is engaged in federal stalking under Title 18. License, 22618 subsections 1 and 2. License 8EDV437, and it's currently again 2:47 p.m. This is P.O.C. The entity is engaged in ongoing surveillance. I'm going to go ahead and capture in possible light while you're looking at a demon that wants to be viewed as a housekeeper, and she's stalking just like every other demon, and doing so on behalf of the state in this entirely unintelligent and satanic system, pacing an engineer light while they're doing so in what's supposedly like invisible light. This is how my shadows appearing across all these demons' doors who are monitoring me inside of their hotel rooms with the gang stalking housekeeper, with all the rest of the state. These are demons on the 60 freeway. These are demons living at the people of the state that are residing in the specific environment, the gang stalkers that are maintaining businesses like Mobile and Economy, and this is the P.O.C. It is currently 2:48 p.m. I'll go ahead and show you impossible light activity. My ability to show you my shadow here. This is the shadow of the gate. All right, I'm going to capture it in that audible activity of the train. Excuse me, that's not a train, that's a truck. That's this demonic synchronicity. It's the elements of monitoring. Okay, this is P.O.C. and I'm capturing the fake sun. I'm going to go ahead and get that again, where the entity is centering everything that's occurring, everything that you hear, and also as I document everything that I feel. It's a method of documenting terrorism by admitted sex offenders who are monitoring, and this is the federal RICO case against corrupt businesses like Economy Inn. It is again 2:48 p.m. July 26, 2025. This is P.O.C. All right, this is the demon that's being documented simultaneously while I am uploading it. This is the demonic activity. As you're looking at the demon, there is no vibration that's going to occur inside of my hotel room. This is federal stalking. The amplified sound of traffic on the 60 freeway is impossible. This is a demon engaging in federal stalking. She's walking under a fake sun, a sun that doesn't sit over a building for 12 hours. She's engaged in federal stalking. She's also doing so while being a sex offender monitoring inside of a hotel room. She's going to the gang stalker's room 224, who you saw pacing around me on video, and doing so in the environment where the demon is monitoring with all the rest of them. Gang stalking immigrants are going to be deported. Crossing a path under the fake sun. Okay, what's uploading right now is images of this sex offender, this gang stalker, this domestic terrorist that does not speak the English language, is in this country engaging in domestic terrorism of American citizens, and is currently doing so in concert with minor children who are the means of pacing and engineered light. You already know that the entity is doing so in the specific environment. These are the demons that are pacing. This is what they're doing with the Ontario police that provided evidence to how you know the non-English speaking gang stalkers in California are terrorizing American citizens. It's not a coincidence while she crosses path and while I'm inside of the depths of this hotel room, the mattress is shaking, the floor is vibrating. That's impossible sensational activity. This is called surrounding while demons are stalking under a fake sun. This is called pacing while she's walking back and forth, and that is the stalking with activity conduct occurring under the fake sun right here. Okay, the fake sun is present over this venue at what is 7:16 a.m. That's how you know that these are stalkers, and these are sex offenders monitoring my vagina. This is the criminal conduct that is disbanding the Ontario police, but it's also the prosecution of the state of California. This is how Marriott Bonvoy is keeping a fake sun over Town Place Suites by Marriott in Monrovia, California, while I'm documenting and exposing what is the federal RICO cases against the corrupt businesses that are engaging in surveillance throughout the state of California. Monitoring, in other words, in hotels, which is a sex offense. Okay, like you saw the demon driving the Lexus yesterday, sunlight never reflects off of the front of your car. Gang stalking, just like you saw under the fake sun that was still here at 6 p.m. This is the P.O.C, and this is concerted conduct. This is while they're monitoring in real time what's going on the internet, and I'm also going to capture the video evidence of federal stalking. License B-I-R-T-A is driving under the fake sun. That's called pacing, using a vehicle to do so in a specific environment. That's not a stranger, that's a sex offender, a terrorist, and a demon-possessed one. A Caucasian woman that's monitoring my vagina as well, engaging in with the government. This is the entity that's engaging in that conduct. Going to the vehicle, these are demons that are pacing, and they're doing so while they're monitoring me. Document the evidence. License 9SYE890 is monitoring with minor children in custody of them, contributing to the delinquency of them. This is what they do in bathrooms as well. Having children come in being the guise of audible activity and engineered light, stalking in a bathroom on behalf of a government, and engage in that sex offense in the same way you're seeing at a hotel. Okay, this is P.O.C. And this is the terrorism that the gang stalking employees like 9MBP 997 is engaging in. These children are over here running in engineered light. This is what they're doing when they're monitoring me on behalf of their gang stalking parents, those that are even immigrants monitoring an American citizen. This is what she's doing, stalking in the path. Hi, how are you? Okay, that's the entity that's engaging in gang stalking, and this is stalking in the path, making sure you're covering all bases. Last night while Ontario International Airport is gang stalking and the demons are surrounding at the ends of the parking lot, that's stalking in the path under the fake sun. That's what this is. And this is terrorism as you're going to prosecute it. This is terrorism while a bunch of demons who are hollowed out psychopaths obsessed with your genitalia are stalking you obsessively, and that obsession is shown in an environment that is irreconcilable. She's not a stranger. The engineer light is present. That's the pattern of conduct underway where a bunch of girls and boys are sex offenders alike, okay? And this is what the management of economy in is facilitating. That's why the fake sun rises and sets here. License BBIRTA is also not coincidentally stalking right here to make sure someone is surrounding in the path. This is what the African-American woman was doing, standing in the middle of the parking lot, stalking in the path under the fake sun, okay? Present at what is 7:16 in the morning, 9:30 in the morning, 11:45 in the morning, 12:42 in the afternoon. The entity keeping the fake sun as I'm documenting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. As you see the Ontario Police gang stalking by helicopter at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. As you see the Ontario Police Department gang stalking at 6 o'clock in the evening. Ones are stalking in the path as a public entity. You'll see under a fake sun, this is how stalking is underway, and they're monitoring what I'm uploading onto the internet, and this gang stalking immigrant is engaging in terrorism, terrorizing an American citizen. She's going to be deported, like every other gang stalking immigrant. And the government engages in more terrorism and harassment while you document gang stalking immigrants. Also why they're going to be deported. P.O.C. Okay, let's get the city of Ontario, because you've seen the Ontario Police Department add to the case against immigrants, where there's no term. You are flying over 2301 South Euclid Avenue while the fake sun is over me, and that's exhibiting what is mental illness. Alan D. WAPNER is also obsessed with my vagina, stalking using commercial airlines, spending a lot of money and resources. Okay, that's not a flight coming from the airport. That's not a flight going toward the airport. Terminals 2 and Terminal 4 is engaging in what is
The entities engaging in what are flights that have nothing to do with the arrivals and departures published on the Ontario International Airport website. It's also not a coincidence while I'm documenting it. Understand the demon that was in license BBIRTA, maintaining the elements while a demon is crossing path in a commercial plane. And this is all ceaseless activity creation, okay? None of which is going to be heard inside of the hotel. This is massive surveillance, okay? Gang stalking immigrants, again, what you're seeing is deportation. It's a matter of justice, what you're witnessing, whether you like it or not, whether you like how it's being executed. Gang stalking immigrants are not welcome in this country, and this is why they are being deported, and for more. This is P.O.C. This is crossing path and engineer light. So don't forget about the light activity that's ongoing when you're walking by BBIRTA, crossing path, pacing, and engineer light that fills the hotel rooms and the venue. Okay, this is the identification of stalkers. Right here, Exhibit A. That's P.O.C. It is currently 3:34 p.m. The entity doing so while I am currently uploading video and images onto Google Drive, and this sex offender knows what's being uploaded. This impossible light activity is how you know about her knowledge and her specific acts of targeting me while she's pacing back and forth and creating earthquakes inside of my hotel room, gang stalking with the patrons, and like they're all sex offenders and these are demons. In an unintelligent system that the government helps in putting them in prison and asylums and being labeled as sex offenders that the Department of Justice is going to deal with. Okay? It's P.O.C. 3:35 p.m.
All right, it is currently 9:23 p.m. The entity engaging in what you'll see reflected on the PDF document is the maintenance of ongoing monitoring through demons that are stalking in the path, which is exactly what they're doing, monitoring my physical movement and monitoring my internet activity. They being demons that are all in engineered light, engaging what is a shared system of surveillance, which is the admitted engagement by sex offenders. All right, the entity is monitoring right now while I am uploading a podcast, excuse me, not the podcast, but documentation and the PDF. These are the same demons that are engaging in what is targeting via engaging in a battery. This is filling my room with what is smoke, secondhand smoke, on what is, again, a purportedly non-smoking property. The entity is engaging in that at the same time that I engage in documentation. And like the PDF shows that's uploaded for today, July 26, 2025, this is the same tactic of physical violence that a gang stalking entity, a government, terrorists, violent sex offenders employ while they are monitoring, and it is another means of just harassment. Also, it's relevant to psychological torture, using secondhand smoke with regard, which is what you're sensing at the same time you start documenting. This is what the entity is doing, again, while surrounding with activity. License 23103U1 is stalking in the parking lot. License 8EDV437. The stalkers that are monitoring with minor children with the gang stalking housekeepers, the immigrants that are targeting in the United States, license 9SYE890. That white van is still parked here. They're still monitoring. The Texas plate is GWO8HV. That's a Texas plate. The same demons that you've seen on video gang stalking by presence on the staircase, sitting in the wheelchair with the hotel door open. These details are relevant with regard to the dissection of all evidence. So you'll see them engaging in that, and they're engaging what is stalking, blocking the path. That's stalking conduct. That's surrounding conduct, and it's also harassment. That's terrorizing behavior while the entity is gang stalking. This is the government having you surrounded in that environment. DZ48B36. And the same gang stalker, the sex offender from room number 224, who is on video exhibiting severe mental illness and obsession with me as well, stalking an engineer light, driving the black BMW under the fake sun, pacing to and from it. She is still at the venue, gang stalking now. The entity is committing a battery as one while they're filling your room with what is secondhand smoke, and nobody's outside of the room smoking. And by the way, the Caucasian female, that demon from room 244, smoking outside of the room. My room is not filled with smoke. The African American demon, that gang stalker from room 233, is smoking outside of my room. Like I documented, my room is not filled with smoke. The entity is maintaining the stench of the, and it's a battery because it's secondhand smoke. And this is what the demons that are monitoring are engaging in as well, aware that I detest the smell of smoke, and so it's filling my room. And this is something that management intended on doing, where they placed me in the room. Remember, this is a matter of steering, placing on a supposedly no smoking rooms, and the entity is not putting up the smoke detector. That's not something that they forgot to engage in. It's part of the pattern of conduct, intending to torment, to sexually violate, and intending to batter as an entity, as a means of harassing while they're targeting me inside of the hotel room. License 9EKC937. These psychopaths are slamming their doors, rooms 224, 223, 222. These demons are monitoring while they're engaging in that. License URBAN01. These are demons that are sharing in battery as an entity. The government, the Ontario police, gang stalking on video, which you saw under the fake sun. That spectacular demonstration of terrorism. And everybody is exposed. It doesn't stop when the Ontario police fly away, and there's no mystery that everybody is gang stalking and everybody is also a demon. They are also all admitted sex offenders, and they like to engage in sexual violence and physical violence, such as secondhand smoke. That's a battery, which I'm going to prosecute those that are subject to federal prison, not only for kidnapping, but for facilitating violence and terrorism and psychological torture as a corrupt establishment, which is what Economy N is doing for we're almost at 2 weeks now, as of July 15, 2025. License 8BMK973. License plate. This is an Arizona plate, CWDO228. That's an Arizona plate. License 9DTM779, 3TBG137. License 8CSA691, 8WSC303, WLZ2831, that's a Texas plate. And the kidnapper that is, again, working at the venue, license KKB99, capturing the fake sun through the windshield of his vehicle at all hours of the day. License 9GTD454, he is a gang stalker that's engaging in corrupt business practices that are acting in furtherance of murder and kidnapping me while making money and gang stalking me, doing so with the city of Ontario. And they are both incriminating each other. That is, the people, the state is incriminating the government. It's already an insurmountable prosecution, and the government is incriminating the people of the state by gang stalking you at that establishment, and it's already a fully complete prosecution. You're seeing how the entity that is gang stalking is always exposing each other. Okay, they're co-conspirators. They're gang stalking together. EF22C70, that's a paper plate. And this is criminal conduct that is underway at Mobile Gas. The entity is gang stalking by stalking in the path, stalking with light activity, engaging in surveillance by sitting at a gas stall in relevant position. Everyone is engaged in what is targeting me, both my vagina. These are sex offenders who are obsessed, and they're engaging in what is criminal monitoring. The demons that are in room 109, opening and closing their door, is nothing that's going to disturb my stay, okay? The entities engaged in what is impact as though closing your door, and I'm just speaking to what's the sound reminiscent of. It's impossible audible activity. It's impossible sensational activity to be walking outside, and it's shaking my mattress, okay? These are demons, and their obsession is also proven through their demonic methods of monitoring. Their obsession, their mental illness, the same. Okay, and also the admitted sexual violence. While you're gang stalking, you're a sex offender who's engaging in criminal monitoring. You're a gang stalker. Gang stalking is a sex offense, a severely violent, exceedingly egregious sex offense. And the entity is doing this as a way of business. Businesses, commercial actors are going to be prosecuted as sex offenders, and they're also engaging in employing physical violence, such as poisoning with secondhand smoke, while you're documenting the criminal pattern of conduct, while demons are hostile to what they're watching you publish on the venue of the internet. And I want to be clear, these are psychopaths that have no problem having sex with children, molesting children, gang stalking with children. You are witnessing the ability to engage in that, okay? That is not separate and far-fetched. That's exactly what you are witnessing. Psychopaths that engage in psychological torture, sexual violence, criminally monitoring, targeting another person, using children. Those are the same ones that are inclined to violate in all manners children. They are engaging in the pattern of conduct, and they have this desire to engage in physical harm in any way, such as, again, a way where nobody's not touching you, and poisoning with secondhand smoke. Okay, and this is criminal conduct of the establishment. You're going to prosecute Economy, and they're going to federal prison anyway. This is P.O.C. Just want to document the current demons that are on the path, and the demons that you'll see on the video, again, repeatedly in the morning under the fake sun, in the afternoon under the fake sun, in the evening at 6 p.m. where the Ontario police is engaging in what is pacing for 10 minutes on video under the 6 p.m. fake sun. Room 116 is maintaining ongoing surveillance, making sure that they are present in the path. Remember, that's the significance of being in the parking lot with their lights on, stalking in the path with light. That's the significance of standing at the end of the walkway, and you know that the walls are covered in engineer light. They're stalking in
in the path with light. The demon possessed are engaged in terrorism, obsessively stalking as one. Okay, this is P.O.C. and the demons that are engaged in what is targeting, engaged in what is stalking with amplified noise, which is harassment, it's domestic terrorism. And it's also relevant to psychological torture, while everything that they're doing is pursuant to monitoring. They're maintaining the elements of monitoring, but there are also a bunch of demons who are just engaging in what is, and this is understanding what businesses are going to be prosecuted for. They're torturing a customer. They're torturing a patron. And you're looking at the logo, you're looking at the hotel, not as trashy as Economy Inn. I've been to a lot nicer hotels. At least they look like it on the outside. All right, they have clean towels, nice little toiletries and whatnot. They're in a nice zip code, and they're engaging in all-out psychological torture, torturing an American citizen, stalking them, and paying and making money off of it. That's exactly why I'll be criminally prosecuting corrupt businesses that are engaging in what I'm documenting on podcasts, what I'm documenting on video and images, the body of evidence relevant to the federal RICO case, where the inhumanity of gang stalking is underway on behalf of the government in corrupt business practices, torturing American citizens like Marriott Bonvoy is, like Hilton is, okay, like the entity that is gang stalking, like Motel 6 is, like I'm documenting, and like Economy Inn. Okay, it doesn't matter what zip code they're in, it doesn't matter how expensive my room is, it doesn't matter what state it's in, it does not matter the race or the demographic of whatever. They are sharing the same mental illness. They're demon possessed altogether. They share the criminal pattern of conduct as well. All right, the entities engaging in what is all-out torture, while the demon possessed even go to the extent to pay for hotel rooms. That's how obsessed with me they are, and their obsession is also proven through the methods of targeting. Okay, targeting in the most absurdly demonic and unrealistic ways, like vibrating, creating what is an earthquake while you're walking by or rolling a cart outside. That's not going to be used to falsely depict the character of anyone. That's going to be used to diagnose you for your obsession with me and the fact that you're a sex offender obsessed with my vagina, because all of these facts are known when you are documented as gang stalking, including as a corrupt business. All right, I do want to document, just like I documented in Azusa, California, Hilton, that corrupt hotel in Azusa, where I'm documenting the P.O.C. I documented the Azusa Police Department. I documented the entity gang stalking and engage in all manner of criminal summoning. The city of Azusa very, very much perturbed by my presence as I documented the pattern of conduct on my way in that city, and as I documented on my way away from that city. And how you're documenting and aware of that, them being so perturbed, is all of the criminal summoning that they engaged in. Those demons were just sounding sirens, California Highway Patrol having a field day, and having a field day meaning they were very much in a ruckus. How do demons show their hostility? By stalking, monitoring in the ways that they have at their disposal. So enraged demons that drive emergency vehicles will engage in criminal summoning. Enraged demons that fly planes and helicopters will engage in stalking in the path in planes and helicopters. And if they're really foolish, they'll give me footage of flying in circles over me while the fake sun is over me. The entity is engaging in this in Hilton, and in a no smoking building, no smoking rooms, filling my room with smoke. No smoke alarms going off, however, and that is again a documented battery in 2024 in Azusa, California. This is what Economy Inn is engaging in, and it's also intentional that the smoke alarm is not attached. This is nothing, when you're documenting, when you're subject to the pattern of conduct, this is something that the entity intended before putting me in this room. All these demons are here because of me, and everything about what I'm doing is what they're obsessed with, and engaging in a battery as an entity pursuant to what is filling my room with smoke is that which they intended to do before I even got in this room, and I'm documenting it, and it is within a pattern of conduct. It's an act of physical violence, and I want to document that with regard to the multiple acts of violence they are engaging in, and sexual violence is also routine with gang stalking. These represent the third-party license plates that are currently on the grounds. Just want to make sure that that's on the record. While I am subject to repeatedly engaging in what is not only stalk with amplified noise, and also doing, that's a means of monitoring, but they're also engaging in repeatedly all day filling my room with smoke, okay? And this is the violence that the entity is inflicting while I am engaging in documentation and publishing documentation and just living and breathing and being me, okay? The entity is mad because of the length of my eyelashes, because of the shape of my nail beds, because of the way my feet land on the floor, things that I cannot, these are demons that are obsessed with me, and the entity is engaging in what is
hostility because of also my ability to document them, the fact that I speak the truth, that they're obsessed with me, the fact that I detail how obsessed with me they are while they are still obsessed and they're still stalking, and even while they do it, I also document what they do, and it is not stopping a prosecution. And that's what the demon-possessed who are more obsessed with me than they are logical, than they are reasonable, than they are intelligent, are subject to an inevitable demise. This is why Jason Isaac Fields is subject to what is federal law, barring this psychopath from ever coming into my presence. This is somebody that belongs in federal prison, belongs in a mental asylum, somebody that is of the same severe mental illness, somebody whose inexplicable obsession with my vagina while having sex with my mother, having a prolonged sexual relationship, but also hates me, gang stalking me, engaging what is targeting me, inexplicable means of hostility and defamation. This is a whole different personality. This person is psychopathic, and the ways in which he's engaged in targeting me is relevant to what the people of the state, whose name I don't know, they share that criminal pattern of conduct. This is why Tracy Banks is going to federal prison as well. So I just want to be clear. I am documenting an entire entity, and I can give you the same analysis. Well, not exactly the same, because I can go into a little more detail with the people of the state whose name I know. And you are able to get some clear, more insight regarding the severe mental instability shown through this charlatan conduct by the demon-possessed that are gang stalking you, especially in your social circle, in your family. All right? And that's speaking to the threat posed by gang stalkers like Jason Fields and Tracy Banks that are, again, they are the reason why I'm still being gang stalked by the police, why I'm still being gang stalked by a population of demons. They are engaging in what is targeting me with regard to seeking to steal property from me. And this is relevant to how the law is going to supersede the ongoing delusional and obsessive endeavor to violate as though you're going to kidnap an American citizen that is barring you by federal law, because that's exactly what people like Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields are going to be barred by. These are demons that are spiritually attacking as though you're going to force yourself into my presence, like you're going to kidnap me and I'm going to go somewhere with you, like you're going to force me to talk to you, or you're going to force me to be in your presence, or you're going to get away with having custody of property that belongs to me, and like you're not going to go to, like I'm not going to prosecute you for that. These demons are delusional. So this is how that mental illness is practically viewed, and you're witnessing, if you haven't already, you will witness how delusional the demon-possessed are. This is relevant to mental illness, okay? Jason Isaac Fields represents a very real and ongoing ceaseless threat to my life and safety. This is somebody that was never a real friend and is not a friend now, and nor is this going to be a friend in the future. This is somebody that is sitting back and obsessing over every word that I utter and is reviewing my documentation while still gang stalking me in real time. This is somebody that is also sexually obsessed with his sex partner's daughter. This is a pervert. This is somebody that is turned on by the idea of incestuous sexual activity. This is a Jezebel spirit. This is somebody that will never be permitted into my presence, and federal law is going to protect me and my property from psychopaths like well, not just Tracy Banks, but her sex partner, Jason Isaac Fields. And this is speaking to all the people of the state. But because of the criminal conduct that I've been subject to by those like Jason Fields and Tracy Banks, this is why they're so heavily referenced in my documentation, because of the unlawful conduct, the extent to which they went to steal from me, to defame me in doing so, to target me, to kidnap me, and try to, in other words, achieve a permanent means of kidnapping and ultimately my murder. So there's nothing, there's no detail, there's no circumstance that's going to change what is my constitutional right to make sure that such terrorists are never permitted in my presence. And that's exactly what my documentation also supports. And no delusional psychopath that wants something else. They want a lot of things. They wanted to have group sex with me and my mom. This is what Jason Isaac Fields, he wants to have group sex with males, girls and boys. This is somebody that would engage in all manner of criminal conduct and steal my property so that I remain sleeping outside. He wants all sorts of sick things. It doesn't matter what the terrorist wants. It's what the targeted individual who is supported with supported evidence is going to enjoy as a matter of your right, your constitutional and human rights. This is somebody that is representing a real-time threat. This is somebody that is going to be barred under the law from ever coming into contact with me. And justice requires that, by the way. And it is establishing precedent for any American citizen that is subject to this level of targeting by a government. Okay, and that's what Jason Isaac Fields represents, including through abusing a government position. These are people that are delusional with what they think is going to happen. There is never going to be a friendship. And any government that permits that threat to my life in the face of the evidence in the face of what I'm clearly communicating is a government that I'm going to prosecute for that as well. It's an unlawful threat. Just like watching the Ontario Police Department kidnap me, unlawfully search me. And I want to be clear, the government relies on the criminal conduct of the Ontario Police because they think, well, one day they're going to find crack cocaine in my property when they're committing an unlawful search while they're gang stalking me. And then that's going to support the secret conservatorship and all the criminal acts of defaming me in court. That's going to support all of that. And all the evidence is going to be removed. No one's going to ask any questions. And they are still going to prevail in amongst these corrupt courts. The entity that's engaging in what is targeting me and relying on this criminal monitoring as a means of supporting what has been criminal at the outset by the government is the same entity under specific names like Tracy Banks, Jason Isaac Fields, who will never be under the law in my presence without being subject to a violation of the law of prosecution. But I want to be clear with regard to what justice requires and what the entity has already committed. Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks belong in federal prison and mental asylums, respectively. Okay, it is currently 9:41 p.m. It is, again, July 26, 2025. The criminal monitoring that I remain subject to is based on the criminal monitoring that the government remains engaged in. It's all state action. And this is relevant to the criminal conduct by the state of California. Okay, this is P.O.C.